Now at 5, a budget airline becomes the target of protest across the nation as it prepares to assist the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration.
It's shameful, and we're going to stop them by the end of the summer.
Plus, a chaotic scene unfolds Friday night, ending with 4 people shot and a teen in custody.
Kind of a long-term relationship going on, and then it kind of went sideways.
And Oregon's former Secretary of State addressing the ethics violations brought against her.
And then I spent the last 2 years in
And thanks so much for joining us here at 5. I'm John Adams. We're following breaking news along the Willamette River, where first responders have recovered a person's body. This was the scene earlier this afternoon at Cathedral Park. The body will be taken to the medical examiner for identification and cause of death. This is the second body recovered from this location this month and the 10th recovered from Portland waterways since April 13th. While community members were once excited for Salem's airport to have a commercial airline for the first time in more than a decade with Avelo Airlines, for some, feelings have changed. The airline has signed a long-term charter agreement flying for the Department of Homeland Security's Immigration Agency. Our Celine Stevens is live in the newsroom tonight. And Celine, you heard from those angered by this move.
John, right. So starting next week, Avelo Airlines will officially start using 3 of its aircrafts based in Arizona to support the federal government with their deportation efforts. Ahead of this move, protesters in Salem today weren't happy and want Avelo to either end their agreement or leave the state.
Yeah, I mean, it's shameful. It's blood money. It's a deal with the devil.
Protesters gathered at Salem City Hall Saturday protesting Avelo Airlines. The airline signed a long-term charter program agreement flying for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Immigration Control and Enforcement Agency, something some protesters say was done for the money.
Avelo's a company that's in financial trouble, and they took this ICE money, for profit over people.
In a statement, Avelo says they will open a base at Mesa Gateway Airport in Arizona, and flights will be both domestic and international to support the department's deportation efforts. Protesters calling on the city to take action.
Any city that's supporting Avelo Airlines by running commercial flights is also supporting the deportation flights out of Mesa, Arizona.
Avelo Airlines came to Salem Municipal Airport back in 2023, making them the first commercial airline service in the airport in over a decade. Initially, many were excited about it.
We were thrilled. I've used it many times. My wife has used it. Obviously, things changed. That was before they started this.
But since this recent agreement, protesters want the airline to either not participate in the deportation flights or leave the airport. However, some say it would not make a difference.
And they're not making policy. You're not even putting a stamp of approval on it, right? All they did, and they said in their press release, we're just looking for stable income. And that's pretty honest.
Brent DeHart with Fly Salem says the anger should not be directed to the airline, but Washington, D.C.
Let's say they put Avelo completely out of business. It won't change one deportation. This is where I think it's getting misdirected. Trump's going to deport. Well, Trump's going to deport.
Avelo says they flew these charters under the Biden administration too, but protesters say this time is different.
Well, it's a misdirect. This administration refuses that due process. And so when Avelo says they used to deport with previous administrations, yeah, but it was totally different.
The president saying due process can take too long.
If you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers. And I was elected to get them the hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
Now, I reached out to the city of Salem, and City Councilor Paul Teagan says he agrees they need to take a hard look at Avelo's contract with the city and shares the concerns of those who want no part in the Trump administration's efforts, but also notes the city is not in a position to subsidize any airline indefinitely. John?
We'll definitely see how this all plays out. All right, Celine, thank you so much for that reporting. Turning now to weather, some sunshine this morning has given way to some cloud cover in the Portland metro as our stretch of warm and dry weather seems to be winding down, at least briefly. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is joining us now. And Joe, are folks going to have to dodge some showers on Mother's Day tomorrow?
I would say by midday and into the later part of the afternoon, you'll definitely be dodging some light showers. But again, we're looking at maybe a 1/10 of an inch of rain by the end of tomorrow, and that is it. We could be maybe looking at some boomers, some thunderstorms popping up a little bit, but I think we'll hold that heading into Monday. Right now, though, in downtown Portland, a temperature of 70 degrees. So despite the cloud cover, it's still relatively nice out there temperature-wise. No watches and warnings along the west side this weekend, but wind advisory will kick in later on tonight throughout that southeast pocket. So if you're making plans for Mom tomorrow for Mother's Day, yeah, you're going to be seeing dry conditions to start things off, but by the later part of the afternoon, right around between, let's say, noon and 2 o'clock is that window when those showers will start to kind of be moving through. Right now, we're looking at overcast skies, a little bit of some light showers popping up just along the southern Oregon coast near Brookings. We're not going to be impacted by any rain tonight. That ridge of high pressure that's been so lovely the last couple of days is going to be pushing off to the east. Now all these clouds and this front will be moving on shore by tomorrow. And here's a look at the futurecast. You can put this into motion by tomorrow morning. Mostly cloudy skies, a few light sprinkles to start things off, but you're not going to be seeing anything more measurable than that. And then looking into about 12:30, 1 o'clock, this model right now is showing we could be seeing those showers picking up. I'll talk more about your detailed forecast and what's in store over the next few days coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you later in the show. Well, we're barely into May, and the Multnomah County is already warning people to prepare for hot days this summer. The county says in the last 3 years, 14 people have died due to the heat. Most were men over the age of 60 who had underlying health problems. Multnomah County says 79% of those deaths happened while people were at home. The county also spoke about the threshold to open cooling centers and how it uses a heat risk tool from the National Weather Service. At level 3, the county would consider opening cooling centers or shelters. At level 4, the county activates cooling shelters. Major developments at a home near Kelso, where authorities say 4 people were shot Friday afternoon in what appears to be a domestic dispute. It appears all of them will survive, while a teen is now under arrest. Our Alma McCarty has the latest.
Friday night, investigators wrapped up their work on scene at a house on West Side Highway north of Kelso. They'd been here since 3:30 on Friday afternoon after responding to a shooting call. The Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office blocked off the road for a few hours, learning that a total of 4 people had been shot. 3 were taken to the hospital, one of them life-flighted to Legacy Emmanuel. A 4th person, a 17-year-old young man, showed up a bit later to St. John Medical Center. Deputies found out there had been a fight between a group showing up here for a visitation with a young child and people inside of the home. The shooting, Sheriff Bradley Thurman says, took place right outside the front door, and the parties were known to each other. Despite being close to a park and a neighborhood and not far from a school, no bystanders were injured.
To have 4 people in one incident injured like that, it's kind of shocking, but there had been a prior incident at this residence probably about 1.5 years ago, again involving underage folks and somebody being shot.
The sheriff says the 17-year-old suspect was booked into juvenile detention here in Cowlitz County on assault and drive-by shooting charges. The investigation is ongoing. In Cowlitz County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Police in Lincoln City have arrested a school bus driver for alleged child sex crimes. Yesterday, they brought in 21-year-old Josiah LaFrenz on charges of luring a minor in online sex corruption of a child. It follows reports of inappropriate communication between LaFrenz, a Lincoln County School District bus driver, and a Taft High School student. He's scheduled to appear in court on Monday. Police believe there could be more victims, and they're asking people with information to call them. The number is right there on your screen. New tonight, Washington's governor has signed a controversial law requiring clergy to report child abuse. Though now the U.S. Department of Justice is launching a civil rights investigation. The DOJ alleges this may infringe on First Amendment rights, particularly for Catholics, since violating the seal of confession carries potential excommunication from the church. During hearings earlier this year, supporters of the law said Washington has an obligation to protect kids. But the Archbishop of Seattle argues the law forces priests into an impossible situation.
Children need trusted adults. They need to know that if they tell somebody they're being abused, like I told my teacher in the 5th grade that I was being abused, that they can trust that that person will make it stop.
Our priests have told me, Archbishop, I'll go to prison before I allow the state to coerce any such information from me. And I think all of our priests feel that way.
Previously, under state law, priests could not be called to testify under oath about what someone told them in confession. Back in Oregon, the former Secretary of State addressed the state's ethics board and apologized for her actions that led to her resigning from her position. Shamia Fagan stepped down 2 years ago after it was revealed that she was working as a consultant for a cannabis company while also serving as Secretary of State. Fagan made a statement as the board discussed the fine they would impose on her.
And I know that my actions were indefensible. Embarrassing mistakes, bad judgment, and I'm sorry. And so whatever fine you decide to impose on me today, I will accept it.
The board decided to fine Fagan a total of $3,600, but also thanked her for apologizing. The Harrison Park Middle School gardening class and PTA held its first ever plant fundraiser sale this afternoon for Mother's Day to help raise funds to brace for possible PPS budget cuts to extracurricular activities. The sale happened inside the school garden where 25 students have planted over 4,000 seedlings since February. Head gardening teacher Mike Benson says this not only serves as a way for kids to learn where their food comes from, but as a great introduction to real-life skills. But top of mind right now is raising funds to continue this important class and opportunity for current and future students.
Because of that, we want to be proactive and let the kids have some ownership to raise and not only awareness, but also funds to help them kind of hedge their bets as far as the unknown.
And if you missed it today, don't worry. Benson will open the plant sale back up on Monday after school from 4:30 to 8 o'clock.